Welcome everyone. On this bonus scene of Puddin'S Fab Shop, we dig deeper into the truck. I answer the top 5 questions I get asked about her, and I show y'all what's been holding me up on making progress on episodes 2. First, I want to tell you what the truck actually is. It's a 1964 International C900. Now, being a C900, it has a super short bed on it like what you see here, and it had the little 4-cylinder in it, the same as the Scout. It's actually International's attempt at a small work truck that could save gas and still put in some heavy-duty work at the time. Now, when I originally started to build this thing, I only planned on clipping the front, lowering it down a little bit, and driving it. I went out to my dad's house, I got a clip I had, and I got it here. When I started looking at the amount of work and everything, I just decided to take it a step further. So to answer question number 1, what front clip did I use? It's from a B-body. It's from a 1984 Impala. The track width of it was absolutely perfect. The motor sits down in there great, and I don't think I could have used a better clip for this truck. And that ties directly to question number 2 that people like to ask is, how much of the frame did I actually build? Well, since I used the front clip from that car, it's about a 3/4 back frame. So about the firewall back of this thing, I built myself here in the shop. Question number 3, what drivetrain's in it? It's a 350 bored 30 over, Edelbrock carb on it. It's great for cruising. It's backed by 700 R4. The only thing I'd really like to change is the rear end. It's got a highway gear in it. It's from the 84 Impala as well. So it has a 273, and I'd like to change that to a 355. Question number 4, am I going to replace the windshield? Eventually I'd like to, but I haven't found one yet. I found them online, but with freight shipping and everything, it costs an arm and a leg. So I'm really just happy that it's cracked on the passenger side where I don't have to see it when I'm driving. And question number 5, am I going to paint the truck? Absolutely not. I like the patina, I love the color of it, and honestly the amount of work it'd take to fix all the rust in the body on this thing and paint it, I'd have so much money tied into it that I don't even think I'd help the resale value any, and I dig it like it is, so I don't see a reason to change it.
Guys, we're going to roll into some voiceover of the truck here where I can kind of explain some of the truck, and we'll see some build pics as well towards the end of this video. Here you can see where I tied the 84 Impala front clip in. There back is where it's 2x4 box tubing, what I built the frame out of. See the nice clean shaped firewall. Heater hoses coming out of there. Kept the original inner fenders from the International, just trimmed them how I needed. All the way down to there where you can see some dimple dies on the lower panels. Nice little detail on it. Come around the front here. The coolant reservoir I've got hid underneath that fender well, and a cool little shroud I built here in the shop for the radiator. Battery recess with the cables going through grommets there, and a cool little hold down with more dimple dies. The linkage for the 700R4 and throttle, all that was built by me. It's got some speed holes in it. It's kind of hard to see there. And the steering, used the factory arm where it connected to the box, and had to use 2 joints with the Heim there to get me the angles I needed. And there's no binding or nothing, nice and smooth. Built an adapter plate for where the factory brakes went there with the bolts on the firewall. Been able to put that Speedway master cylinder on there, and you can see the proportionate valve down there. Around front, you can see the nice aluminum radiator and the big trans cooler I got mounted to keep everything nice and cool. The outside of the truck, I really didn't change too much other than sitting it on the ground. You can see the Krager eliminators with the dime lights. I kind of like the old school wheels. I rock them on a lot of stuff. A nice little clean trailer light that I found that I felt had a nice clean look for it. The dimple dies I put on the back of the truck and where I recessed the license plate area. And a peep mirror that I put on there just so I can have a little bit of mirrors, I guess. Inside these doors I went through, I swapped guts from other doors and everything in them work 100%. They roll up and down great and everything. The floor was all hand built by me and Brock Cowan of CBR Racing. He kind of taught me some sheet metal basics like the bead rolling and everything else. And I built my own seat frame and a cool little dimple die panel there. The seat Taylor did, we already talked about that. The name I had it pinstriped on the dash at a car show up in Dewey. I traded a guy a t-shirt for that. Everything in the dash does function 100%. All the gauges, every little lever and button and everything, heat, windshield wipers, all that good stuff. I like everything to work, so everything on this truck does work. More speed holes I put in the brake pedal, thought it was a pretty cool little detail. And that moon eyes pedal. Cool little gauge holder I built. I don't like the flat face gauges, so I enclosed that one. And there's the stainless shifter with, of course, the shift knob that I built for the truck. Back here at the frame, you can see the 2x4. This was the first frame I've built, so it was a good learning experience for me. I did a bag on bar setup. You see on the lower bar mounts and the shock mounts and the wishbone mounts and everything, I use a lot of dimple dies back here as well. I try to carry them throughout the truck. Some of them are hidden and hard to find, but they're there. I try to keep everything pretty simple back here. I mean, there's details like that dimple die you see there on that gusset, but overall, I mean, it's really a simple design. Pretty basic. I didn't want nothing too crazy. I try to keep everything clean, like my brake lines and electrical, trying to run everything symmetrical. And you'll notice there's no air lines you see back here really, or air compressors or valves or tanks, because I don't really like the way that stuff looks, so I didn't want to be able to see it. Same with the fuel line. It actually runs the bottom of the frame rail where it's hit as well. Now we'll roll in some pictures. Here's the truck when I first found it, and that was the day I actually picked it up. Kind of looked like a gasser. Pretty cool look actually. Here was tearing it down. We tore it down in one day. This was when I first moved back, and I went out to my dad's house, and that's the car that I had forever since I was a kid. And we tore the frame down. That's when I got the front clip here and decided to build the frame. You can see I free floated it there up in the air after doing a lot of measuring. And after that, I started building the frame back. All the cuts were done with my angle grinder, with drawing it out with an angle finder, and nothing too crazy as far as, like I said, tools and everything. Just a lot of hard work and motivation. You can see where I tied it in there and gusseted. And here's a trans cross member with some cool speed holes in it underneath the truck you'll never see. That's the lower arm mount and where it kicks off. Again, a dimple die gusset on it. And this was the first time I'd actually got the frame off the table and kind of sat the cab there to see how it's going to look. Once I got the rear end where I wanted it, I started building the rear suspension. I believe that's when I was building the wishbone. I built a little temporary jig. And here's so you can kind of see how I do some of the stuff. That was just some metal, hole saw, cut it out with that angle grinder, clean everything up. And now you got a complex look and design without really using any fancy tools. All my bag mounts there were cut out with angle grinder. And I really like the way the rear setup of this thing ended up looking. Those upper bag mounts took me a handful of times to design to get them how I liked them, and I love how they came out. The front bag mounts there, The lower arms, I just made the design myself for that plate, cut it out a 1/4 inch, and built the upper mounts at the measurement I needed, and got the front laid out how I needed it. That was after I got the eliminators on there, and I believe at that point the cab mount and the front mounts were done. And that picture there is when I had started building the bed mounts. Here's the floor when we're in the middle of working on it, and you can kind of see there what it took to get the battery recessed back in the fender well. My speakers hid up underneath the dash. You can kind of see how compact it is up there. And there's the back of the truck after I'd done the work to it. You can see how I kind of just used hole saws, cut out that area, recessed it, and put my dimple dies in there. It looks cool. Underneath the truck, it's nice and clean. That's something no one else has really got to see yet. And here's where I kind of started going on an assembly process of the truck, putting it together. That was a very exciting day for me, getting to see all the hard work I've been doing on them. And there's the truck all together. And from there is basically wiring everything up, plumbing, all that good stuff. Nothing too exciting, so that's where the pictures are going to stop.
Well, hopefully that answers some of the questions y'all had about the truck. Now we'll head in the shop and I'll show you what's been holding us up on making progress on episode 2. Here in the shop, I've been doing a lot of work of rewiring. I stripped all the wiring out of this shop. I ran new wire from my house to my shop, and it's 100% brand new. So good LED lights in here, evenly spaced out. I got more outlets than I had before. I've got good 220 now and everything, so that's where a lot of my time and attention's been going. Now, besides all the wiring and everything in the shop, the past couple weeks, this has been my big project. Building a huge shed like this by yourself is a lot of work, but I've got it done. I've needed it for a while. It gives me a lot more storage in the shop to be able to get my lawnmower and stuff like that out, where I got a lot more room to work. So check it out. Well, that's my rollover shed. I call it the rollover shed because my grandpa's great at carpentry work and building stuff. And if he knew all the simple mistakes I've made on that shed out there, he's probably rolling over in his grave right now. It works for me and gets me the storage I need, so I'm happy with it. But I have a ton of respect for you carpentry guys who are really good at that stuff, because it's definitely not my strong suit. That's it for this bonus scene. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. If you haven't seen the first episode of Puddin'S Fab Shop, I'll try to put it in a link somewhere up in this area where you can click it. It'll take you straight there. If y'all haven't found me on Instagram yet, look me up on Instagram at Puddin'S Fab Shop, and I'll see you guys next time.